Hi. I've been ill for the past week and a half, and I'm still not fully recovered, as you can tell by this lovely little thing I've got in my ear. I can only hear properly out of one ear. It's a whole thing. Anyway, I was planning on making a wrap-up of all the books that I read in February. However, around half of them I have literally just talked about in my last video, and I'm not about to repeat content, so you're getting this video instead. So today we are going to be reading some of my most anticipated releases for the year, and as you will soon find out, it's got quite interesting. But without further ado, let's just get into some reviews, because
I sincerely hope that the audio is recording, because the last time I filmed something with this microphone, I had to go back and correct every single clip because the audio hadn't recorded properly. Anyway, enough of that. First, we are going to be talking about Hunchback by... I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name of the author. I'm going to put it up on the screen so you can read it for yourself. This is a Japanese novella that I thought would be worth talking about because it has just been longlisted for the International Booker Prize, so it's going to be getting a lot of eyes on it. Okay, this is about a woman who has congenital myopathy, which is essentially a condition where your muscles don't work properly. It's the same condition that the author actually has, and we are just following a woman kind of going about her daily life. It's quite hard to talk about because it is so short, and I don't want to spoil it, even though not much really happens. I really did not enjoy this book. And it's unfortunate because books featuring disabled characters, and really any disabled representation in literature at all, is quite hard to come by. Which is kind of crazy because if you think about it, anyone could become disabled at any time. So it doesn't really make much sense to me that there is such limited representation. So I'm happy that this book exists because of that. However, that's where my sort of praise for it ends, because I really didn't understand the point in this book. And I definitely need to explain myself here, because some people watching this are going to get the complete wrong idea of what I'm trying to say here. I think the author's voice is very important, and I would hands down read something else by her. I just don't feel like the perspective had really any point. Sure, there's critiques on ableism, but ultimately I found this book a really uncomfortable read, and I'm sure some of that was intentional, it just was too much for me. It was extremely crass. I do not recommend reading this book on public transport. Thankfully, I was away in a country where English is not the first language, because if I was reading this on the tube and I had someone like sitting right next to me, as they do on the tube, I'd feel very uncomfortable. And I've seen the in-betweeners, right? Like, I can cope with crass, but yeah, this was just excessive. I came away thinking like, oh my goodness, what did I just read? And not in a kind of mind-blown good way, in a this gets 1 star kind of way. From a kind of craft point of view, I really don't understand why this has been getting lots of awards, because I don't think the writing really does anything all that interesting or, you know, spectacular. It's just kind of written in a standard way. I don't think it's the translation. I mean, it could be, because you know, things do get lost in translation, but I didn't really feel like that was the case with this one. I mean, yes, it's only 100 pages, but ultimately, I didn't like it.
So the next new release I read is I Can Fix Her by Rae Wilde. And this is an extremely weird little novella. I mean, dare I even call it a novella? It's more like a short story with chapters about Johnny and Alice, and they're 2 exes. They run into each other after Alice gets back from Germany. I can't actually remember why she was there. I think it was like for a job or something, and she just ends up back in the States. Anyway, they have a chance encounter at this bar, and Johnny ends up going back to Alice's apartment, and reality kind of turns on its side. Things start getting strange. It's kind of a bit like if Groundhog Day and the novella Thinner by Nino Cipri had a baby. It's weird. And I can see myself revisiting this one. It was weird, it was really well written. to the point where I really would quite like to read something else by the author. It's fast, it's not going to take you very long, and I would like to reread it at some point. I don't know when that's going to happen, because I always say I'm going to reread books and then I never do. I just read something else. Yeah, this was good. 4 stars. But not for everyone, because I feel like these books are like, they're oddly specific. Their audience is not the general masses.
So next up on my list of new releases to read is The Favourites by Layne Fargo. Now this is a bit of a departure from what I normally tend to read because it's about sport, specifically ice dancing. So in this one we are following 2 ice dancers called Katerina and Heath, and the book is centred around a documentary that was made at a fictional Olympics where something went down, and the book's mainly about kind of the stressful nature of the ice skating world, and also the obsessive relationship between our 2 main protagonists. It's kind of a bit like Daisy Jones and the Six, if you've read that one, although the subject matter is quite different. I am so surprised that I like this, because I am about as athletic as a pencil. Sport never fails to bore me to death. I don't really watch any sport. The only sport I can tolerate is maybe like a bit of the Olympics, like diving, gymnastics. I do watch like the main football events and things, but aside from that, I do not like sport because I'm not good at it. However, this book, on the other hand, was really engaging. It read like a thriller because the chapters are mostly really short, and so you're just turning the pages because I wanted to know what was going to go down. Could it have been more dramatic? Yes. It was kind of obsessive, but could it have been messier? Yes. But all in all, I think that the writing was good. I think that the setup of the novel itself was very believable. Like, I believed that this was a real event, and I kind of thought to myself, oh, I'd like to look this up, like the descriptions of their performances, and then I realised, hang on, wait a minute, this isn't actually real, like I can't actually look them up. That's how good the development of their characters were, and even the side characters still felt like real people. I felt like I knew them even though they weren't the main centre of the story, and I think that's very admirable, because often in books the main few characters are developed and the side characters are just throwaways, you know? I'm sure there were some examples in this, but I think this was good. And prior to reading this, I'd already heard of the author, Layne Fargo, because she wrote, what's it called? They Never Learn, which apparently is kind of the same tone. It's like a revenge thriller set at a university, and this like vigilante serial killer is just going around taking down all the bad people at the university. So, I don't know, I would like to read more by this author, because I think this is very much my brand. I like books about messy relationships. I think that says something about me that I don't want it to say, but it's the truth. Yeah, I would recommend this. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, because I was almost not going to read it, and then I just kind of thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. I'm sure it'll be fun, and yeah, it was. 4 stars to this. Is that it? Am I finished now? I don't know. Should I read something else? Because this is probably going to go up on Saturday by the time I've actually edited it. You know what? I'll read one more book.
Okay, so I started reading The Violet Hour by James Cahill, and I am quite quickly DNFing this book. We're set kind of in the art world, there's
gonna be something mysterious going on. I think somebody eventually gets murdered, but I read like the first 50 pages and I kid you not, I could not get into it. I don't think it's like badly written or is gonna be a bad book. It's just nothing was grabbing me at all with any part of this book. And there was also like a pre-established relationship, and I quite often struggle with books that do that. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I struggle to connect. And the way I am at the moment is if I don't get invested really fast in a book, I kind of question the point in reading it. And I don't want to put myself in a reading slump. I don't want to push myself through this book and then unfairly review it because something intriguing was about to happen, yet I did not want to keep reading, and I think that says it all. So I don't know what else I'm gonna read. I'm gonna check.
Yeah, I don't know what to read next. This is what happens when I read a book I'm not interested in. I just kind of question what to read next. I hate this. Should I just read a fun thriller? I'm starting to think that maybe I should. Okay, I've made my decision.
Hello. You'd think by the fact that I didn't give a single update of this book, you could at least conclude that I enjoyed it. I'm here to tell you that the news is in fact a lot more positive than that. I really cannot be bothered to keep holding this up. It's actually it's quite annoying. I really am making a mountain out of a molehill. I really just want to yap, and having to hold something is really not doing the wonders for the yapping. So I'm just gonna yap. I don't know whether or not to give this book 5 stars. That's my dilemma. Because there are a few lines that made me go... But that is just fundamentally such a minor thing. I don't really think you should know too much about this book going into it. I don't even know if you should necessarily read the synopsis. But it is kind of what you'd expect. So we're following a serial killing couple, but they've given up their life of vigilante crime for the good of their child. But unfortunately, one of them accidentally kills again and breaks their promise. I don't know why I enjoy these kind of like hijinksy thrillers, like everyone in my family has killed someone, like the dramatic sounding ones. I don't know why, but they seem to work for me. I think the characterization in this book was done superbly, because a lot of the time in thrillers the author does sideline characterization in favor of the hijinks, the twists, the turns, the mystery, but I definitely felt like I knew our two main characters. Even the side characters as well I thought were reasonably well developed. It was just fun. It was exactly what I needed when I read it. It was well written for the most part. It was believable as well, because the book kind of hinges on the fact that their marriage is in trouble. They're not kind of having fun anymore because something they loved doing was knocking out terrible people, but they're not doing that anymore. So they're struggling, they're keeping things from each other. I mean, some people may hate it because it's kind of like miscommunication, they're not talking to each other, but you can see why they're not talking to each other. You can see why their life is in disarray. It's just good. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be good, to be honest. It was on my most anticipated list, and I don't normally put books there unless I'm expecting them to be good. So, I don't think this is going to be for everyone. I don't think these, like, niche isn't the right word. What am I trying to say here? Gimmicky mystery thrillers, they're not for everyone. But a lot of the time they do seem to be for me. I don't know what it is. But yeah, this was hands down very good, and I'm considering giving it 5 stars, because now I want to go and reread it, even though I know absolutely everything that's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to read next. I've been saying that since I finished it, and I finished this book like a couple of days ago now, so I have been reading nothing. But yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Let me know if you've read any of these books, if you plan to. Let me know what your most anticipated books for the year are. But otherwise, I'm going to leave you to get on with the rest of your day now, and I'll hopefully see you in my next one. Goodbye.